Let's start with a shout out to all you mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day. And Tupac, who wrote the quintessential Mother's Day song, Dear Mama. And how ironic it is on this Mother's Day that Tupac and Suge Knight used to do Mother's Day parties. They used to bring all these single moms together, and they used to treat them at the Beverly Hilton and other types of hotels, places like that, and have them come and celebrate Mother's Day. That was such a great thing for them to have done. And now here we are on Mother's Day, exposing some of the corruption that might lead to the downfall of the people that have been pushing out the false narrative. Shout out to Choke No Joke, who just did a video about the Orlando Anderson chain snatch at the Lakewood Mall. Bullshit story. All the bodyguards said that that was a bullshit story. And supposedly the beatdown was because of the chain that was snatched at the Lakewood Mall, right? Orlando Anderson gets beat down, and then he comes back and he kills Tupac because he took a beating. And that's the story. That's the story that they've been trying to push with the Keefy book and with the index that's in that book. You know, it's just crazy. An index, so it reads like a deposition, like it's going to be entered into a court case. And here's my point today. This is going to be a short video. I'm going to put it up as a short video. I want you to think about this. There's going to be a link to the Vlad interview of John Hyland in the notes. We'll see how long that video stays up before Vlad takes it down. But Vlad has John Hyland on, and he's flossing his $40,000 Death Row Records chain. How ironic that that chain and that $40,000 is mentioned nowhere in that bankruptcy. How ironic that a Death Row Records chain is going to be what brings this whole house of cards down. Because if he undergoes another debtor's examination, which you know is coming, the latest filing is asking for leave to actually lodge a claim and to be heard. They're going to grant that, and that's going to lead to somebody coming in who actually understands and knows what's going on here to do a debtor's examination of John Hyland. And the Death Row Records chain, the $40,000 chain, is going to be asked about. There's got to be answers to it. A $40,000 Death Row Records chain could be what makes this whole thing tumble. The Bomb First channel, it's basically dead at this point. 3 weeks later, no videos coming out. We don't know what's going on with it. The fact that it was valued at zero, not even mentioned in the bankruptcy first, just the LLC mentioned, and then it gets valued at $25,000. The fact that there were 35% of it was sold for $190,000 shows that it's worth a lot more than $25,000. And so that's going to be hard to explain away. But how do you explain away the Death Row Records piece of jewelry that is not mentioned in this bankruptcy anywhere, that is purportedly worth $40,000 that John Hyland is wearing in his Vlad interview? These guys are all cozy. Suge Knight said it. Perez and Sharitha and Reggie was great friends. And Perez and Sharitha and Reggie had a plot to take him down. Well, we've learned that Perez and Sharitha and Reggie are not the only great friends out there. Kading and Sharitha and Reggie is great friends too. They's great friends too. And so all them together was trying to plot. And what were they trying to plot? How they were going to create a narrative to counter what was bubbling up at the time of Russell Poole's death. And all three of them is great friends, in the words of Suge. So how ironic is it that a death row records chain could be what brings this entire card castle crumbling down? We don't know what's about to happen, but we know that this bankruptcy is definitely going to be looked at. We know that money is going to have to be paid back. Money is going to have to be found, manufactured, whatever they got to do, because this whole thing is a vice. And one thing that I know about bankruptcy attorneys and the bankruptcy court is that as long as there's assets and the attorneys can get paid, there's going to be scrutiny on this bankruptcy. It's lawfare. And they are going to squeeze out every drop of money that's in this bankruptcy, because now at this point, enough people are talking about it that it can no longer be ignored. And those people that I said yesterday might weigh over and put in a good word for Reggie and for John, they may or may not. At this point, power does not want to be embarrassed. And these two guys with this bankruptcy are now embarrassing people that vouched for them previously. They may not get the nod, people reaching out. We'll see. But one thing we know is that this death row records chain may become a big issue in this bankruptcy.